And I went and I taught 5th graders, 11-year-old kids. I taught them for 8 years straight, and I eventually was teaching 6th to 9th graders and teachers as well, 7 days a week. No press allowed. I kept it secret. I just wanted to do it, not get credit for it or something. I didn't want to write books on it, and it mattered to me. But my experience in the schools gave me a lot of thinking about education system. We brought these great computers in to work on everything we learn in school. We can use computers for in some way, and we have this great tool now. But did it bring students coming out of school smarter than in the past? Because of the technology? And I have to answer no. I don't see them criticizing, critically thinking. I don't see them asking questions and coming up with new ways to do things and being creative. I don't see that really expanding that much just because the computer is the modern day book. What would make the difference? And in my own experience, I came up with one teacher per one student can never fail. No matter how poor the student starts out or anything, the teacher will always go with them, give them time. They will learn what they're interested in, not what they're not interested in, and they will learn as fast when they love things or as slow when they don't, as they want to, if they had one teacher. We cannot afford one teacher per student. Could a computer, a low-cost computer, everyone has a tablet now, can a tablet be a teacher? Someday. What's missing? It hasn't happened yet. Well, a tablet doesn't have a brain and a personality. So if we ever did have conscious computers, they could really care about the student so much and become a best friend. I mean, look at our devices now that we carry around with us. People, especially young people, just walk around holding it. They're not oblivious to all the other humans around. This is my best friend almost in the world. I talk to it. It talks back. It has human senses like touch and sight and hearing. And what if someday it gets conscious and cares about me and knows me better than human friends? That'll be my best friend. I'll trust it as a guide. Young people going to school aren't very independent thinking. It's on the internet. I can get all the education I want. That's too boring. It's not going to attract them. What young people think is, I'm dependent. I need some adults, some people that have been there to show me, guide me on paths that are sort of the better paths than I would choose for myself totally. And this machine being a best friend could be that kind of a guy.
Okay. I'd love to talk about that more.
And also a family of 5 deserves 5 votes in any country. 5 votes, not 2. Because right now what happens is...
children vote. You're saying that the heads of the family should have 5 votes.
Yeah, they only get as many votes as a family of 2 people with no kids. If there's a family of 5 with 3 kids, they should get more votes because the kids' voting counts to how much money government give to schools. It's unfair. It's unfair where the current system is. In Cupertino, we had an election to pass more. Cupertino, where Apple is a city that's well known for good schools for 50 years. They could pass a law to give a little bit more money to schools. California was almost the last state, the lowest state in the union because of some prior legislation in terms of money for school and in terms of size of class and things like that. So I paid the money to send a postcard to every single person in Cupertino saying this is why you should vote for more schools, more school money. And we got 64% of the people to vote for it, and it failed. Because the prior legislation said you needed 2/3 of the vote. And I did the same thing the next year, paid $10,000 to send cards to everybody, and it failed. And then in my town, Los Gatos, known for good schools, we passed it. And then Cupertino passed it. So those 2 schools have had extra money for the last 20 years. I have to be honest, though, looking back after 20 years, what do I see? A lot of refurbished buildings and new stadiums. Yeah.
We're coming to the end. I would like, for our last question, you were a guy that had a vision, that had an idea back in the 60s, 70s of usable technology, a computer in every home. What would you, and you made that happen, an incredible vision, and you made that happen.
Yeah, we'll give Steve Jobs more credit for the vision, because my vision was I would have a computer for myself.
Okay.
And I would also be more of a show-off. I'd get more attention, and people would praise me as an engineer.
But between you and Steve, you had that vision, and you made it happen.
And actually, to start with, I was the one who had the vision for it's going to help society communicate, educate, and solve problems. I was the one communicating that to Steve, not vice versa, because I got it from my club. That's what turned me on, made me want to do it. But I wasn't outspoken. I was quiet.
Okay. So what advice would you give to people here that perhaps have an idea, that have a vision, but they don't know how to go about turning that idea into something tangible? What are the sort of 2 or 3 pieces of advice you can leave with people to have an idea, but they want to put that into practice?
Yeah, with a lot of the successes, especially in the dot-com era where things turn to software, a lot of people think, wow, they start companies with just an idea. You write it down, you convince people to give you money. And I always tell them, first of all, if you've got some ideas, find an engineer. Find somebody even young that knows how they could make it. And this is no money, no payment. You don't pay somebody. You got to find somebody that really believes in this as a product and build at least a working model. A working model might just be a computer screen that shows how you interact with a new proposed website or something, or it might be a real piece of hardware. Build a working model. That's what we had when we started Apple. If you have that to show off, it's going to be a lot easier getting the money, and you're going to own a lot more. The terms are going to be such you're going to own a lot more of the company you start. So always rely. The engineer should be not only there to build your idea, you should include the engineer in creating the ideas, because engineers go through a lot of training. Even in the modern analog engineering, it's extremely difficult math. Modern computer engineering is structure programs with hundreds of little things, trying to make them all work out right. But you learn to become clever. Engineers are very clever at solving problems, fixing things that are broken. Include the engineer in thinking out what the idea should be. Treat them as full partners when you have an idea to be an entrepreneur, and have a really good one. And find some young ones in universities. Advertise right on university billboards if you need help. But it's hard to identify who's the Steve Jobs, who's the Steve Wozniak. It's sometimes hard to tell which are the ones that are really great. So you got to go sometimes on your own feeling too. Include them and also look at what everybody else is doing. What's obvious that everybody else is going to do. Make sure that what you're doing special and unique is really worth a lot, and not just an alternative that doesn't really save somebody a lot of time, a lot of money. You know what? Every single program that ever gets written helps somebody. Is helpful. Not very many make successful companies. Not very many turn to Facebooks. It's better if you want it, what you're creating, if you want it for yourself. And if you don't, link up with somebody who is in the buying community that this is what they want so much, and listen to them very carefully to get the best ideas of what should be in it. I mean, if you're trying to do a new airline travel reservation system, you're really great at computer software, you better link up with somebody in the airline travel reservation business and include them from day one as a full partner, and because they will guide you right from the start in the right marketing directions. Don't ever forget the marketing is important. Communicating to the public what your vision, as a company, and your vision as a product is all about, and how it will help people. One of the things to do is listen to advertisers. Every advertisement either says you're going to be more popular or you're going to be more successful. And that's all. Make sure that people can see that.
Well, that's great. Thank you so much for your time. It's been a pleasure.
Sure. Thank you.
Bueno, comenzamos el día de ayer bien tempranito a las 9 y lo primero